Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of An Apple a Day. Today, Dr. Fluff and I are going to be reviewing the Juici apple. Yep, that's the name of it. The Juici apple, it's a pretty recent apple. It was originally developed and grown in Washington State, with the first ones coming to the grocery store in fall of 2017. Its parentage is a Honeycrisp and a Braeburn, so it's a cross between those two apples. Here's a close-up of the apple. You can see it looks very Honeycrisp-like. It's just a little smaller, and the skin is maybe a little more wrinkly. So what am I supposed to be tasting with this apple? Well, you might have guessed it, but it's supposed to be relatively juicy. It's supposed to taste a lot like a Honeycrisp, maybe just a little less sweet than Honeycrisp. And I think the texture is supposed to be similar as well. So we'll see if it is all of those things. I'm going to take my first bite. Here we go. All right, I'm going to take this inside, cut it up, bring it back out, give some to Dr. Fluff, and we'll tell you what we think. All right, we are back with our cut up Juici apple, and it's a nice little apple. It's got a lot of cool stuff going on with it. Let's talk about how it tastes. The flavor, upon immediately biting into it, is very much like apple cider. You know, very appley, a little bit spicy. It's nice. And then it kind of moves into almost like a little bit of sour, a little bit of tartness, and then finishing up with like kind of a red wine, believe it or not, like a red wine dryness. So I feel like the Juici moniker is almost a little bit of like a misnomer. It's not that it's particularly not juicy, but it is certainly not juicy enough to be called the Juici apple. And, you know, it's interesting because, yeah, it's that like dry flavor, that kind of mouth pucker that you get from like a red wine that is dry. This thing sort of does at the very end as well. It's a very nice tasting apple, though. So, would I buy this apple again? I think so. It's hard for me because there's a lot of apples that kind of live in the same realm of like this sweet versus tart territory, and I think I probably have some favorites that outclass this apple a little bit. Like Cosmic Crisp apple is kind of similar, and I think maybe a little bit better than this apple. But still, I would probably get this again. I do like it was small, which I thought was kind of cool. I always like either a small or a big apple or whatever for what it is. And Dr. Fluff loves it. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.